You are about to listen to the words of Fethullah Gulen, a distinguished Islamic scholar and thinker. In this podcast, you will hear his essay, The Believer Standing Before God.
The believer with a strong spiritual foundation is assured in the journey ahead, and his faith inspires trust in those around him. He stands firm and unshaken, unwavering in his faith. Aware that all of his works are seen by God, he always acts with enviable refinement and courtesy. He is kind, decent, gentle, and polite before God and before others. Even in the face of danger or persecution, he remains composed and respectful, refusing to be swayed by anger or hostility. The exceptional eloquence and profundity in the soul of the believer are the result of service to God. He is remarkably kind and attentive, fully mindful of his speech and action, and serious in all matters. But at the same time, he is very mild and generous, with a heart that is open to all. His inner world, enriched by faith, compels him to embrace everyone, offering love and compassion freely and revealing to them the beauties of closeness with God. At times, he dreams of the day he will encounter God with joy, and at other times he worries over the day of judgment with deep awe and fear. Great-hearted, the believer sees through the smog of hatred around him and ignores the storms aroused by jealousy and slander. He disregards the distress and annoyance that such things cause in his soul, for he stands in the presence of God, and this reality clears all improprieties from his mind and purifies his inner world. There can be no defect in his soul, for in inwardness he enjoys the spiritual gifts of the realms beyond. His actions are guided by spiritual depth, and his high ideals keep him focused, undistracted by worldly concerns. His faith is complete. He respects his elders and cherishes the young with compassion, and he orders his life according to the virtues that have been bestowed to him. He rejects anything that do not express his ideal of service to humanity, confused thoughts, futile actions, and vain words that do not ultimately lead to God. His silence is contemplative, and his speech always proclaims the lofty concepts of God. His external and internal senses are fixed upon God. He is as pure in his devotion as the angels. He is always ready to soar, glowing with spiritual enthusiasm. Because of his respect for God, his ultimate purpose, he does not insist on his own way as if it were his goal. He always sets his eyes upon what is beyond the horizon. His effort, passion, and diligence resound throughout the world, and these values are the true motifs of his life. In his fleeting days, he manages to both develop this world and attain the next. He does not waste his natural and spiritual capacities, the divine gifts granted to him at birth, and he does not waste time with trivialities that have no consequence for this world or the next. In service, he easily gives away all that God has entrusted to him and does not let a single penny of God's blessing go to waste. He works and earns in the way that is right and lawful so that his efforts may join the cascading rivers of paradise. To this end, he always acts in the name of God and for his pleasure, giving careful thought to all that he does. He seeks the abundance of the ocean in the smallest drop and searches for the blessings of the sun in the atom, perpetually striving to see the eternal in transient things. He loves everyone and everything for God's sake. He breathes with love at all times, forming atmosphere haven of love around him. He rushes to stop the cries of mourning wherever he hears them, and he applies antidotes to the afflictions of others. He turns tears into laughter, helpless moans into praises to God, and storms of fire into the breezes of divine grace. He endures hardships so that others may find peace and relief. If he does not serve others, he considers himself valueless. Selfless and altruistic, he always prefers us to me, prioritizing the well-being of others over his own personal desires. A man of spirit and purpose, he does not let material desires overpower his deeper convictions. He pursues the kind of integrity and innocence exemplified by the prophets. He is a champion of self-discipline, contenting himself with lawful pleasures. He gives his willpower its due as he struggles against corporeal desires. he overcomes all obstacles by God's help and reaches the horizon of his soul without difficulty. He is focused, diligent, and committed to doing good and opposing injustice. At times, he is so diligent that he is in competition with the angels, who once again praise God for creating mankind. He wins angelic admiration by applying the divine gifts granted to him at birth only towards their created purpose. In doing so, he acts as a reliable steward of all that has been entrusted to him, and God honors him with his presence. Every individual is entrusted with existence and bestowed with universal human virtues. The aspiration for paradise, the capacity for attaining it, and the ability to contemplate God's beauty are other special endowments. All of these have been granted to humanity to be used in conformity with their purposes, which the Creator has determined. From this perspective, to misuse human potential and live under the rule of corporeality is to disrespect and betray the divine gifts, which can only delight the evil spirits and embarrass the angels. Therefore, the believer recognizes that God's initial gifts are the means by which we attain his subsequent blessings. In utilizing them, he realizes his true identity as a servant. On the contrary, those who do not believe, who do not recognize their divine gifts or enlist them in the cause of faith, wisdom, and love, will be deprived of the subsequent and everlasting blessings. And since they neglect their life to come, they can never be fully happy in this life. They often experience anxiety, distress, and a sense of discontent, which can arise from a lack of faith. In this way, they turn this beautiful world, this luminous passageway to the realms beyond, into a hell for themselves. Those who lack faith may struggle to experience deep love and compassion for others. They find themselves hating others for insignificant reasons, and they receive hatred in return. Most of the time, they suffer from greed and avarice, are frustrated by disappointment, and tremble with the fear of death. In a frantic state, they begin to confuse white with black, good with bad. They consider those who do not think like them to be enemies and traitors, and thus they become obsessed with nightmares of distrust. In short, the challenges they face may stem from the spiritual emptiness caused by disbelief. As for the true believer, he receives the gifts of God so abundantly, it is as if he receives the harvest of countless grains. He utilizes the divine gifts as stairs with which to ascend towards God, or as a ramp that leads to the horizon of his good pleasure. And he progresses, inspired by the hope of divine approval, moving toward a future of eternal peace.
You have just listened to the words of Fethullah Gulen, brought to life through an AI-generated voice. Known for his teachings on faith, interfaith dialogue, peace, and education, Mr. Gulen also inspired the Hizmet movement, a global initiative that promotes democracy, human rights, equality, and nonviolence. To learn more about Fethullah Gulen and the Hizmet movement, visit fethullahgulen.com.